Welcome to This Works Marketing, where 3 decades of proven experience has launched products, built brands, and generated profits. These are the stories behind the businesses that have been built.
Hello and thanks for joining us today. This is This Works Marketing, where we discover new marketing strategies to help you grow your business today and in the future. I'm Barbi, direct sales expert. I've been in the direct-to-consumer business for the last 30 years, and we've worked with big companies, small companies, startups, Fortune 500, lots of companies over the years, and we've helped generate over $6 billion in sales over the course of our career. I'm happy to introduce you today to Georg Richter. Georg is president and CEO of OceanX. And OceanX is an online subscription-based solution company. And the subscription model is one of the fastest growing segments in our business today. And Georg was just telling me how busy they are at OceanX today because it is a fast growing segment.
Lucky, huh? I'm doing this for 30 years, all of a sudden we're hot. Huh?
Yeah, very nice. And how about our glasses today? We got to get together at Christmas, Georg, with our glasses. Thanks for making the trip down here to see us today.
Yeah, it was easy.
Oh, good. Yeah. Before we jump into OceanX and all that's about, let's talk a little bit about your background, because you have really an amazing background in this membership commerce business. So tell us a little bit about how you started and how you got to where you are today.
It's hard to believe I've been doing this my whole life. 33 years. I started 33 years ago, something like that. Yeah. Only direct to consumer. Everything I've done direct to consumer. Started with book clubs. Mm-hmm. You know what book clubs was all about in Europe? It was all about curation. It was, people picked a book and said, this is the very best book. That's actually where subscription go these days. Somebody tells that's the very best thing because there's so much variety. So people like curation. And that's where we are again, where I started a long time ago. But I went door to door, sold books, and I actually knows what it means if a person receives a package and how it feels. And that's, until this day, I'm always thinking about that. How does it feel when that person receives the box? What's the experience, and how can we make that better? Yeah,
it's amazing when you have that real boots on the ground experience, right, that can carry you through your career and the whole evolution of what happens.
It also makes you think about, how much is $20, $60, how to make it, because you physically remember how you give something and you get money back and there's some very little left. Right. It's very different than just big numbers, big data.
So book clubs, any other kind of membership?
Book clubs, music clubs.
Which was big back in the day, right?
Yeah, all kind of book clubs. Scholastic at Home, membership group, North American membership group in Minnesota, BMG Music.
Right.
And Gothy was my last thing before opening OceanX.
Right, which is where we first learned about Georg Richter, was when you were president of Gothy Ranker. And of course then you had experience there with brands like Proactive, which had the recurring revenue stream.
Yes, and all of Gothy Ranker is recurring revenue.
Yes, yeah. So Gothy Ranker, for those of you who might not be familiar, I think everybody is though, but they brought you brands like Proactive and Meaningful Beauty with Cindy Crawford, and just extremely successful direct marketer. So how did you come to OceanX? I mean, what was the inspiration to have you take that leap into that?
You know how life works, there is a situation and you make the best out of it. Gothy Ranker wanted to sell Proactive to Nestle, which is owned by Nestle. And you just cannot run Proactive without the back end I built at Gothy Ranker. So it's very simple. We had to split the company. So Gothy Ranker can still do what Gothy Ranker wants to do. Gothy Ranker is a marketing company.
Right.
So I do the back end for Gothy Ranker and Nestle, and now for many other brands.
Right. So you had to have a vision there, obviously, having been in this membership space your entire career. What were you seeing, and what did you think needed to be done in that space to improve upon it?
Yeah, so the interesting thing is that everybody, including you, works on the front end, on the demand creation.
Right.
And I've done lots of front-end marketing, but then I recognize the money is actually lost in the back end. People think, oh, it's just shipping stuff, it's easy. But there's so much credit card fraud. There is, people do not know where their inventory is. There's many, many little tricks on the back end. So we built this for Gothirenka. So today there's cloud computing, right? The system is now as a cloud-based system. And what that means is that you have live data, real data, right now what somebody does. And you can use that information to help the people on the front end to invest in the right medium channel cohort, right? So it's a necessity I learned, very useful. So that's why I'm using it. Isn't that when you have lemonade, make lemonade?
That's right. So the reality is that technology has come to a point where you've really been able to make what people used to call fulfillment, I suppose, a real specialty and build a customer relationship. And that's really what the subscription model is about, is connecting the business with the consumer on a real relationship kind of level, right?
Good. Actually, the continuity marketers, the old thing was much more transactional. It was about, so you sign up and then you get the same thing, and the billing and late fees and all these things. I did all these things in the past. Today it's much more about the relationship. Actually, out of necessity. You have to work on the relationship because everything is so transparent.
Right.
And our friends at Amazon set completely different standards. So to satisfy that, to the speed, the demand for ease of transaction, the need to have perfect information needs a completely different setup. And these are the systems we built over the last 7 years, and that's what we're using now.
Right.
And helping other companies. We're in the business of helping other companies to sell direct. And what does it mean? It means establishing a relationship, recurring revenue, understanding customers for a long time, and creating this long-term forever relationship, as I love to call it.
Right, okay. So just to make sure you know what we're talking about when we say the subscription business model, I'm sure most people are familiar with Birchbox. They've been around for
2010.
2010. So my daughter actually subscribes to Birchbox, and so for a small fee every month, she receives a box, just this is it, Birchbox, and inside a variety of beauty products that she gets to try and sample. And then we've had a couple of clients. One is Little Passports. I don't know, George, if you're familiar.
No. You know
with
there's
them?
3,000 subscriptions out there? 3,000.
Are there 3,000?
Yes.
Wow. And growing by the day.
Yeah, I would think the market is changing. It's now subscription economy 2.0. Lots of first generations will fall away because there's too many. Right? There's like, you know how many kids subscriptions are?
Right.
40. Right?
Is that right?
So it's a little difficult for also from a consumer point of view. So
Right.
they will shake out. There's this new people will emerge.
And we talked about apparel. Gwenny B also is a client of ours, and
Yes.
they are a women's retail clothing subscription. And so you pay a fee, and every month you can go online and select the clothing that you'd like for the next week or month, and they ship it to you. And when you're done with it, you can ship it back. And apparel, you were saying, has been a big category.
Apparel is a big category. We're getting into this. And if you do apparel because of style, size, color, and curation is the biggest element there, right? So you have to understand what somebody wants, and the beautiful thing is today you give them what they want, plus you inspire them to try something else, right? That's the magic. And you educate them and move them a little bit away from, it's very different than sending them hard goods, same
Right.
thing over and over again.
Right.
So we become now, the back end becomes also a marketing company. We help retention marketing. So we are really retention marketers.
So you bring up a great point, because I know most of our customers, our clients, we feel fall short in the customer retention area of their business. They're so busy trying to gain new consumers that's where they spend most of their energy, and then the back end kind of falls short. So how are you helping people in customer retention?
Good. So customer retention is a big topic, right?
Yeah.
So I would think there are several tiers. The first tier I would think is you got to get the basics right. The basics is you got to give value. It has to be interesting. And the relationship has to be easy. That's a very simple thing expected today. Otherwise, you can't retain anybody. So it has to be interesting. You just can't be, right? If you get the next package, you will ultimately quit if it's not interesting. So, and then there's higher tiers. One of that might be the right cadence. do you give, especially with liquids, do you give them the right amount in the right time?
Like if it's a shampoo,
Right? Because
or
if you give them too much, then they cancel.
they don't need
right?
the next shipment.
And
right.
if you don't give enough, they don't have their product. They can't use it. So finding the right cadence is very important. So that's why our systems, we have many, many different variants where people get it in different cadence. Because you and I might be, although we have both long hair, you and I might use shampoo in a different amount all the
Right.
time, right? So it's all these many, many ways how to find to give person really what they want. The higher tier is maybe exclusive product they just cannot buy. You allow them discovery, or doing good is a big new thing. Millennials love that you provide something, a social element, that it's good. And the highest tier, I would say, is that you make people feel good about what they get. Right? Besides education, everything, you touch their heart, right? So this is really where they feel they belong to something. I constantly meet people who say, I feel I belong to this. They understand me. And
It's a community. You've created a community.
So that means all the basics have to be right. Plus, you connect them to others, to people alike. They talk about it on Facebook or things like that. And that creates, a whole new spectrum which didn't exist. People they would talk to the neighbor about the subscription, but now they can talk to the world about it. So that creates communities, and in this really, really disconnected world, right? We are all connected, but we're actually very disconnected. People are lonely today, and so a subscription has a completely different setup today. So if you do all of these things right, and give them the feeling they belong, then you reach the nirvana of subscription, and people stay for a long, long time, and that's what you want. So in the subscription business, what does retention mean? It's like how long they stay, and you will always have lots of people falling off in the beginning. There's two reasons for that. First of all, there's so many, right? You just show that little passport. There's so many competing products, and people want to try things out.
Right.
Plus, we all know about intro offers, right? You have attractive offers. So people just try things out. So
Right.
it's very normal. The retention curves, and I know them for a long, long time, have not really changed. You have an enormous fall off first and second cycle, and then it flattens out.
Interesting. And
Right.
they haven't changed through the years.
They have
but
not
you're
changed.
changing that with what you're doing, right?
Yeah, because if you
That's the
don't
goal.
change it, then you just
That's right.
they
They're
go
out of
away,
business.
right?
Right.
And there is much less brand loyalty today than it used to be. Has a lot to do with the many products we have faced at. Talk about proactive. When proactive is an acne medication, obviously, there are at least 115, 120 competing products today. And proactive is still the number one,
Yes.
but that is enormous,
It's a crowded
right?
space.
And if you're a consumer, it's overwhelming. So that's why people love a subscription. When somebody says this is good for you, and if you have established that trust, they will buy many other things for you.
Right.
So I'm into this creating relationships, helping them, and of course we use technology.
Right.
Right? Technology meaning you have all data points. At all point in time you measure that. You ask people, and you take it maybe even external information, meaning fraud, credit cards things, or address hygiene, or even how they act, how people interact and communicate with each other in other channels. You can actually flow that into, right? That's borderline, so machine learning and borderline artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I found machine learning to be particularly interesting with our Gwenny B client because what they're able to do with the algorithms, of course, is when women buy a certain designer or rent a certain clothing type in a
Yes.
certain size, then the machines can recognize that, and they're able to say, hey, you might also do well with this designer and in this particular size. So they're really able to help you, like you say, try new things.
And the beautiful thing is they still need a lot of people to do this, right? Because the machine alone is not good enough. Right? So you still need people.
Okay, so let's back up just a minute because we kind of jumped in pretty quick. But
I'm excited. You talk about subscriptions, I get excited.
let's just talk about the scope of what you do because
Okay.
I still think in terms of fulfillment, right? You have a product.
Fulfillment is just one part of it.
Yeah, that used to be the only part when we started in the business
Yeah.
30 years ago. Fulfillment was just kind of very singularly focused, right?
Okay.
So you get a product, and there's lots of fulfillment places across the country, obviously, where the product comes in, they process orders, and they ship it out, and they might do some customer service. But now that's just one very small aspect of what you do,
but,
right?
I also want to say I'm really proud of because we built that the variable inserting of that literally every single person can get a different product because whatever it is, these product lines have sometimes several hundred SKUs.
Wow.
Right, cosmetics.
Right.
You have different sizes, you have different fragrances, different textures, ancillary products. So whatever that woman wants, you got to give her. Right? That means retention marketing.
Right.
So we are specialized in having hundreds of units per product line and high speed service them and get it out fast, efficiently, and also from the right point, from the right location. Right, we ship from different locations in the country, so it's close to the customer, which gives speed, right? Provides speed and also efficiency in shipping, as far as shipping cost, of course. Right, so it's not like, remember that when we maybe 15 years, it still said in your infomercials, wait 4 to 6 weeks.
Right.
Today, next day, where is it? Right?
That's right.
So that's everything changed, right? So regular fulfillment house cannot compete with that, right?
No.
So we're very specialized on that, but we do many things. So the order taking is probably the most important thing. There's an order management system behind that, which is actually does not exist at that scale. We had to build it. I'd love to outsource it, didn't exist, so we had to build it. So it's order taking, it's fulfillment, it's customer service, very different customer service than in the past. And then it's all the data, it's the analytics around the data, right? So we provide 4 different things. Order taking, which is very complicated, seems easy.
Right.
Distribution, customer service, and analytics. There's 4 parts to what we do.
And they could all just be businesses in and of themselves. I mean, I don't think people realize how completely complex it's become.
Yeah, it is. So actually, that's the only secret sauce we have, that all these things are completely connected. So we would never advertise an item if it doesn't sit in inventory at this moment, right? So it's all connected. You don't have reports anymore because everybody sees everything, right? So you get more efficient, and you need to be more efficient, otherwise you can't make any money.
Right.
It's very simple. There's so much pressure on the business, right? Expectations are sky high. Speed, everybody wants more speed. Everybody wants a perfect product. Quality has to be right. Has to look beautiful. It has to be a convenient relationship. So customer doesn't care if you make money or not.
Right.
Of course not, right? So old days we used to make money on shipping and handling. That's all gone. That doesn't exist, right? Today it's the opposite. It's free shipping.
Right.
Right? So that has to be absorbed.
Right.
So in very different world. And I'm so happy to be part of this.
Yeah, it's exciting right now. It's
Yeah.
very exciting. So talk to me about what type of products tend to do well, or trends, or what are you seeing in product categories? And we always used to say in the old days that product is king. Is that still the case?
Yeah. I'm telling you, right? You know exactly what works, what doesn't. Skincare is always good. It's very personal. The more personal, the better. That's why we talked about adult issues. Even tampons, lots of personal items where it fits the model, where you want that. There is a size issue, there's a weight issue, there's a value issue, right? There is certain sweet spots. They haven't really changed, right? It has to be, we need a certain revenue. So there's a value. You will never do a subscription for mattresses, right? There has to be a replenishment element, right? It's all obvious, right? I think there's no secret. But what's new in the last 3 years is probably that food is a big thing. Food, right?
Subscription. Oh, you mean like Blue Apron?
Yeah, lots of things, right?
Okay.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
Very difficult. Low price, high expectations on freshness, bulky, refrigeration, lots of ways, difficult
But
business,
a lot of
right?
people are trying it, right? They're determined.
I believe the future of this is that Albertsons, Walmart, Kroger, any of these companies where they already have kitchens all over the place, will do this business, and then it's pick up and delivery from these locations. But shipping things across the country doesn't make any sense, right? So that cannot work. Apparel is new. I love Stitch Fix, I have to say. I don't want to talk about companies, but I love Stitch Fix.
Okay,
it's exciting for me to receive.
Right.
Actually, those pants are from Stitch Fix.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Nice.
They fit, right?
Yeah.
I don't. You know how uncomfortable it is? You go somewhere and try something. Oh,
Sure.
no, it's very
Well,
cool.
especially for men. They don't like that.
No, it's horrible. So that's the solution. So apparel is new, and now subscriptions everywhere. I mean, there's subscriptions for movies, right? There's subscription for cars, right?
Right.
Everything is a subscription. So, but we're in the physical subscription space. So we'll see what's next. But we work with lots of large companies, retailers, and CPGs, and that's really the trend. They will get much more into subscriptions. So as another channel in addition to what they already do.
So tell me how that works with retailers.
Okay, so retail is in trouble, right? You know, you find retailers that say it's not true. Okay, haha.
Right.
It has a lot to do that these general merchandise will not work anymore, right? Macy's or so, what Sears,
Right.
right? So by the anchor stores leaving malls, and that interest rates are going up, and these malls are all financed, they're all highly leveraged. Where should that go, right? Fewer people coming to malls. And then there's also all these people like me who love to buy everything through the mail, right? So you get it at home. So retail is in trouble. It's clearly so. And their only strategy so far is discounting. Right? It's not really a great strategy.
You can only discount so far, right? And then,
every week you read some retailer going under. So where this is going, I do not know. But there are retailers, they recognize the need to really understand their customer. So by going a subscription, again, word subscription can be harsh, doesn't have to be a subscription where you have to buy things all the time. Let's say you create a larger relationship, a membership, a feel-good thing, where you give them exclusive things, or you let them look ahead for the next season, right? You provide them things they just cannot get in regular retail. Makes them feel happy with this, and that allows the retailer to expand the horizon from those people who just don't live right there where the retail store is. Right. So we have one retailer. Their results are phenomenal. 50% of their sales come actually from outside of their membership base. Right. Now that's an insight, right? So and that's what's going. Retailer try that, and CPGs get more and more into this. Because the CPG doesn't know who their customer is. Customer for them is Walgreens, Walmart, CVS, right?
Right.
So they need to know who their customer is. So we're helping those to establish that relationship and then help them sell stuff.
Well, and I will say that is one of the big issues that we're hearing from our clients right now, that their retail space, they're afraid that it's going away, and they don't have a relationship with their customer right now. So how are they going to get into that mix and have a direct relationship with the customer? And that's a big deal for a lot of these big brands that we're talking to right now. So
so clearly that's a topic. Biggest problem for them is channel conflict, because many retailers trained their customers to wait for sales. Right, and you don't have any sales in our channel. You really don't, right? So it's a fixed price scheme somehow, right? So there is a conflict that has to all shake out, right? And there's also lots of retailers going subscription, and there's subscription companies going to retailers, right? So I mean, Target is actually, they have many subscriptions already. Subscription products there, right? From subscription companies, right? So that's a new trend.
Yeah. Interesting. I haven't seen the Target. I mean, what would Target be putting together in subscription?
They have their own subscription. They have actually a cosmetic subscription.
Okay.
And so Walmart has one, but they have Harry's. Harry's is a shaver subscription.
Oh yes, okay.
And they have it there. Nature Box.
Okay.
They have. I know several companies. Again, I don't want to talk about companies,
that's
right?
fine.
Some of them I work, some I don't work with.
Sure.
But they are at Target. You can find them. So that's an interesting trend. Target takes them in, and do not know that deal specifically, but it's an interesting trend.
Interesting. Yes. Different. So different.
Yeah.
Okay. So where do we go from here, George? The websites, how important is the website in the subscription business? That goes back to taking the orders, I suppose. And do you need a call center? And
okay. So it's two different topics, right? So websites are we're in the same business in the sense the infomercials you create and the print I used to create there's a certain formula, right? In your game, there's a certain call to action, right? There's a certain cadence.
Right.
And in print there is, where does the eye go and how big is the offer and what's important. That hasn't really changed. That has been translated to websites. Same thing as people looking at free still works, right?
Yes,
right?
always.
That's what you do.
Yes.
And I think the biggest mistake I see is people make it too confusing. So we learned that a simple buy flow is more effective than a very complicated buy flow. So while you could have many, many layers of offers, it's a mistake to have too many, right? So I've learned it has to be simple because we're also busy, right? So you generally make 1 or 2 offers, should be easy to understand, click here, boom, call to action, done. Right? That's really what it is. And then of course, what has gotten easier is the way to test, right? You can do not A/B, you can do A, B, C, D, E, F test at the same time because it's just easier on websites, right? That's websites.
Right.
You ask about customer service.
Right.
Interesting enough, I think there is a place for customer service. Let's talk about skincare. What if that woman has a question? You can't really just solve that in a FAQ environment, right? So I really think there has to be an opening for have real customer service, really people who understand the product. The regular stuff, like changing the cadence or any of these things have to be automated because it's expensive. People are expensive. But there's a room for customer service. I would think it might even come back. It might be an old-fashioned thing. But there are situations, and guaranteed you can think about one in your life, where all of a sudden you need to talk to someone. Right? No matter how automated
you want
everything.
to talk to someone. You really do.
Right?
Right.
Cancellation is a good topic. I have a lot of experience with redness, where people have a problem with how that product feels. And if you just allow that, they just cancel, that's okay, right? Because people, if they want to leave, you gotta cancel them, right? It's not a question. But what if they just need help with using the product, because the product is excellent and you have to explain it to them. So my experience is if you do customer service well, including cancellation handling, you can retain about 25%. And these people are really happy because you help them.
Right.
So I would say you can't really automate that, right? Because
there's still a lot to be said for the one-on-one personal touch, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you imagine we would just type to each other, right? It's
Right.
much more fun talking to you.
That's right, it is. Much more fun. Okay, you were telling me a little bit about how many different products you're working with right now.
Yeah.
You're working with a lot of different products.
Yeah, and again, our history is I always was in categories. I was in books, I was in music, I was in memberships, and I was at skincare. And there's many other products which lend itself to, and we talked about apparel, which is an obvious one. I don't want to talk about clients.
Yeah.
But there are interesting products where there is, of course, replenishment and an option to really inspire them and help them. Because think about Amazon, just enormous shelf.
Right.
And the solution you offer them and say, hey, this is really good, that makes a big difference. And you develop that trust, and you can sell them more and really help people to feel better, live a better life.
Right.
That inspires me.
So the goals of a subscription business, would you say really is to help establish and build that business to consumer, to build that relationship with your consumers?
Yeah, and of course revenue and profit, right?
Right.
I mean, sorry for mentioning this.
Well, that's how you get there, right? Is by building that relationship and keeping that customer with you. So
just transactional. I mean, we all love Amazon. Do you love Amazon? You order from Amazon?
Yes.
Okay. No, but I mean, think about the experience.
Yeah.
It's just boom, brown box, open it, it's there.
Very easy.
Is this exciting? No, it's not
Convenient.
exciting, right?
Yeah.
So it's exciting if you receive an interesting package, and when you open it, there's an experience. If you do not know exactly what's in there. So that's the trick. The trick is you give them what they want, plus you give them something else. Might be education, might be some discovery item, might be a new flavor. Turn them on to something. And then they say, wow, this is it. That makes me feel good. I want to be part of this. That's what subscriptions are about today.
Right. Okay. And how do you see the model changing over the years? I mean, if you look 5 years out, you're talking about apparel now and retail getting into this space. Where do you think it's going?
I don't know, right? It's interesting, right? The retail will be under more pressure, right? That seems obvious. There will be more online. It's interesting how Alibaba will work against Amazon. That will not, but there will be always, subscriptions are a subsection of e-commerce, right? I mean, will not replace e-commerce. That's ridiculous.
Right.
But there is room for these relationships and comfort zones and excitement to have a personalized package, right? That will be there for a long time,
Right.
at least as long as we're around.
Yes. Right.
For a long time. So I don't want to work another 32 years to experience what's exactly there.
Right.
But we're getting into very interesting products, and I don't solicit them; they come to me, and I'm just surprised how. And then I'm helping them spin the story around it. Right? It's your business, but I help people see their product because the interesting thing is my experience is that many manufacturers, CPGs, for them the product is about specs, and then how to sell it to Walmart or Target. They have no idea who that person is at the end, right? So it's fascinating to me. So I'm the person telling them, this is really good stuff you have here, and then what about this, what about that? So we're working on many things, but lots of personal things and a few surprising things also, I have to say, right? So I don't know, I'm excited for what's ahead.
It's very exciting.
Right? If we would know what's happening, it would be boring, right?
It would be boring.
Yeah.
Okay, so how can people get in touch with you, George?
I have a website, right? OceanX.
It's a nice website. I like it.
It's a nice.
I like it.
Yeah, thank you. So I do lots of videos and stuff. It's so hard to describe what we do because we don't have a product. It's a holistic thing.
And there's so much to it.
Yeah, we try to be partners of company. And I have to do this because I'm a show. It's a show here, so I always do Ocean and then I do X, right?
Yes.
That's my big thing.
OceanX.
OceanX. Ocean on X. X for exponential. Ocean deep. With a lot of experience in doing this. Ocean is big. Ocean is deep.
Yeah.
And X for exponential. We want to help people expand their business and have some fun and make some money while we're doing it.
Very nice. Okay. George, thank you so much for being here today. It was a pleasure. I know you're speaking tomorrow, right? You're talking
at the Recurring Revenue Conference in Marina del Rey, yeah. It's about subscriptions. I know what I'll be talking about.
Did I leave anything out? Is there anything we should...
No, we covered. Relationship is the thing, right? So, and I'm honored to talk to you because you have also been part of that journey, how it works, and it's ever changing. But it's the most amazing story is that the channel was not doing so well for a while, right? And now it has a new life, and we're giving it new life, and I'm happy to be part of it.
Right.
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you for having me.
Thank you. Yep. Appreciate it, George. Thanks.
Welcome to This Works Marketing, where 3 decades of proven experience has launched products, built brands, and generated profits. These are the stories behind the businesses that have been built.